Hi, everybody. I'm back again. Welcome to Heart and Soul Connected, and I'm Allie. It's nice to have you here today. I want to talk to you about labyrinths today. If you've never heard of what a labyrinth is, I'm not sure if you just aren't informed or are you really, really serious you haven't. But anyway, I'm going to tell you about them whether you know about them or not, because I love them. I think they're fabulous. I remember distinctly finding a book way back when on my journey somewhere between 1975 and 2024, finding a beautiful book on labyrinths. And this particular one was on the floor of a church in San Francisco. And this lady, her name was, last name was Artress, and she described her journey into labyrinths. And of course, I've read other myths and so forth where there were labyrinths that were described, and many of them in different ways, because it doesn't have to be, let's say, on the floor of a church. It doesn't have to be even, it can be more of a hedge. It can go through, and it's like a maze. It's a maze with a purpose. Let me put it that way if you don't know what it is. My favorite labyrinth was on my 50th birthday when I went to one of these farms where they had pumpkins and all that stuff because my birthday's in the fall, and there was a lavender labyrinth there, and the only problem with it was they said, be careful because the bees can sting, because the bees just love the lavender. And I remember walking into it, and as you walked into it, your legs brushed, even with your pants on, they brushed the lavender as you went. So you get this fabulous fragrance coming in. And what you're doing is basically going around and around and around and around to get to the middle. So you're supposed to carry your burdens to the center, stand in the center, release your burdens. And then after you release your burdens, and this is, metaphoric, it's however you want to do it, you take the trip back out, and you have you have released all you need to release, and you're on a new spiritual path. And when your journeys accumulate, you can do it again, or when your burdens accumulate. Sorry. So there's many times people have said, well, isn't that a maze? Well, a maze is you're more stuck in. The labyrinth, you're not stuck in something and have to find the way out. You already know you're going to the middle. So that's very important. A labyrinth has a single path that winds its way to the center and then back out again. And despite their simplicity, they've captured and captivated human imagination for centuries. People have been drawn to their mystery, their symbolism, and the potential that they have for their own spiritual growth. They've been used in puzzles, symbols, and even spiritual tools. From ancient to modern times, they've fascinated people, and they are all over the world. In fact, you can go on, there's an app on, Google it, that says, where's my closest labyrinth? And you'll find that they're in your community and you didn't even know it. Some of them are personal. Some people use rocks. Some people cut out an area and put like I said, the lavender on the side of it. There is no right or wrong. Just like in spiritual learning and our spiritual growth, everything has purpose. And so if you're drawn to that particular labyrinth, check it out. And they have some indoors and they have some outdoors. So they're wonderful. The allure of a labyrinth lies in the ability for us to quiet our mind, awaken our souls, and also ask for forgiveness and removal of any burdens we happen to be carrying on us. They're used in meditation, prayer, and self-reflection. Walking a labyrinth can be a powerful experience, allowing you to let go of your worries and focus on now, permanent, present. That's all there is. They've been found in various forms, each with their own character. Ancient Greeks designed intricate labyrinths associated with the mythical creatures like the Minotaur, and that's the one I read about in literature. In modern times, they've been built in gardens, museums, public parks. Some are made of stone, some are created with flowers, some have sand. There's no right or wrong way to create a labyrinth. In many cultures also, they symbolize the journey of life with its twists and turns. We can't always get from the outside directly to the inside. In fact, it's almost impossible. And so by moving around the labyrinth, we're also making a connection that it's the journey that matters the most. It doesn't matter what the destination is. We have to go a very cyclic pattern in order to get there. It also reminds us of the beauty of the spiral and how a circular pattern isn't as harsh as a square one would be. They can represent the path to our own self-discovery, spiritual growth, or enlightenment, and they've been used in ceremonies and rituals, even as some form of therapy, honestly. One of the most favorite and well-known labyrinths, and this was the one I read about, is in Chartres Cathedral in France. This stunning labyrinth is over 1,000 years old and features intricate stone carvings. You can go online and look at it. It's lovely. People from all over the world visit Chartres to walk the labyrinth, seeking spiritual growth, healing, or simply a moment of peace. It's kind of like going into a sacred space. There's something very beautiful about going into a sacred space. You almost feel as though you can't speak above a whisper. It really is that way. Walking the Chartres labyrinth can be transformative for a lot of people. As you navigate, you may feel calm wash over you or a deep connection to the universe. Many people report feeling a sense of oneness with the world or a renewed sense of their purpose. At-one-ment equals atonement. This Chartres Cathedral is just one example of many fascinating labyrinths. Each one has its own story, its own symbolism, its own unique energy. And whether you're drawn to history, spirituality, or simply the beauty of architecture, there's something to explore and discover. Because they've been around so long, you're also tapping into that ancestral realm. There's a lot of people who believe we are living in past, present, and future all at once. That they may exist in different dimensions, that they may exist on different timelines. Can you imagine going back to one that you may have even walked in your past life and feeling that connection to that particular thing, looking for the sacredness of the moment? If you're fascinated about this, please enjoy and look up and find one that's not far from you. Go take a walk in one. I'll be doing that again in July when I walk the Lavender Labyrinth again for my 70th year. Thank you.